At the beginning of the Nebula Camo grind in Black Ops 6 Zombies, I told you guys that I would not be doing that cheesy, stupid, directed mode strategy that everybody else has been doing on the internet to cheese the whole Nebula Camo grind strategy and essentially not even play the game in order to get a camo with the game. However, with that, I did say that there was 2 weapons in the game where I would break my rule for that, and unfortunately, we have gotten to that point, and I've done most of the heavy lifting off camera. We'll be doing the rest of the heavy lifting, or at least most of it on camera, but man, the GS45 and the LR7.62. Now, you may be, thinking about these weapons like, okay, one of those weapons is actually incredibly powerful against the Kraken in Terminus. It's one of the most overpowered weapons in Black Ops 6 Zombies at the moment, and the other one is a pretty decent sniper rifle. So, Nathan, what are you talking about? Well, it's the fact that you need critical kills with these weapons, and when you pack-a-punch these weapons, they become explosive, which means, technically speaking, you can get critical kills with them, but, when you're playing zombies, the zombies are going to be hoarded up, and yeah, you know where this is going with the splash damage and everything. It's just a nightmare. So in terms of the actual challenges, like for the, the main military challenges, I have 1,461 out of 2,000, so we'll be getting close to finishing that. I don't need to do all of them because in order to do the final challenges here, which is 10 Mangler eliminations and 300 eliminations with Brain Rot equipped, that would actually be easier to do in a normal match. So we're just going to get up to like the 1,900-ish mark, because once you do the math on me like starting up another match and then getting the amount of critical kills I need to actually get Brain Rot and have the Mangler spawn in, it would all add up. And yeah, just as I mentioned before, doing this strategy is so brain rotted, so boring, so cheesy. The only reason I caved and did it for these 2 weapons is because I knew it would have been a pretty repetitive process either way, because the only other way to do it would have been to spawn into a game, use it for a couple of rounds, get like 100 to 200 critical kills, back out, and just keep repeating that process. Either that, or I'd have to like kind of do it intermittently with other weapons, and I just wanted to get it all done at once. However, you guys know me. If something is too brain rotty and too boring, I simply won't do it. So I put my own spin on this whole stupid rooftop strategy, and I'm doing my original strategy kind of, so it's sort of like a hybrid. Now, the unfortunate thing is, I didn't think about this until like until I was already done with the GS45, first things first, and then it took me until like almost 1,000 critical kills into the LR7.62, so I had to do the boring rooftop strategy for about 3,000 critical kills, which was as painful as it sounds. But then I realized, wait a minute, for the objective for the directed mode, obviously if you try to progress it past this point and you interact with the machine, it's gonna raise the round cap past round 11. However, if I don't interact with the machine, but I grab the water valve and I come do the same strategy I've been doing for the rest of Nebula grind up to this point in all of these videos and in my free time, that's not interacting with the machine, so it shouldn't affect the round cap, right? And what do you know, my aim is absolutely terrible right now, I apologize for that. But, yep, what do you know, it did not affect the round cap, and it still speeds up zombie spawns in the same way that it does when playing a standard match of Liberty Falls, and furthermore, it spawns more zombies per round thanks to the fact that you're doing the water valve, and normally when you do the water valve, it spawns in more zombies. So, it may only be like an extra 1 or 2 zombies per round, and some rounds, there may not even be an extra zombie that comes in, but when there is an extra zombie, it helps out, and furthermore, it still speeds up the spawns. And to go even further with it, it still spawns in 1 Mangler every single round, just like the other strategy. So, if you wanted to multitask, which I won't lie, I did multitask a little. I hit the box a couple times and finished up the GPMG as well as the PP919, but, now I'm just like, I'm at that point where I'm getting close to getting done with the LR7.62, so I'm just kind of done with all the multitasking, and I'm just going back to getting these critical kills. But, as I mentioned before, as soon as I finish up the GS45 and the LR7.62, I'm going back to playing the game legitimately, because I'm sorry, even though yes, the zombie spawns are sped up, and yes, I'm still running around in circles, I'm still just stuck on round 11. This is so boring, dude, just having the same round repeat over and over again, and it's only like 30 zombies per round. Oh, there it is, finally, 1,500. So yeah, we just need like another, I don't know, maybe like, we'll go until it says like 450 to like 500 somewhere in there, and the critical kills, so we're gonna have to do this a good number of times. But I'm sorry, for me, like, I know there's some people out there that just want to min-max the camo grind and get it done, but for me, when I do camo grinds, I still want to play the game and have fun, you know what I mean? Like, part of the challenge to me of a camo grind is doing it while playing the game normally. Like, if you just cheese it, like, I'm not saying that it invalidates your way of doing it, or that it's wrong for you to do it that way if you prefer to do it that way. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, especially if you're doing a strategy that happens to be a bit faster, or maybe you don't have as much time to play Call of Duty as I do, which, you know, I totally respect that. That's okay. There's only so much time in a day, and if you have other things to do in your life, that's fine. If you just want to get the camo, again, you spent your $70. You play however you want to play. You spent your money. I'm just talking from my perspective personally. When I play a video game, I want to play the video game and have fun still, and again, part of that camo challenge is completing those challenges, because they're supposed to be at least somewhat challenging while playing the game. Now, in this instance, where, again, when you try to pack punch the weapon, it becomes explosive, and the critical kills would just take so much longer. Again, there's only so much time in the world. I'm not going to waste my time going in and out of matches when the end result would just kind of be the same in that aspect. So for these two weapons, I don't mind. But again, for the other ones of the game, I just love that round-based zombies loop where you go in, the zombies get stronger, they get faster, more special enemies come in, things get more hectic, and with that, you know, the amount of zombies that spawns in obviously increases, the amount of health they have, the amount of damage they have, it just keeps going, so it keeps the adrenaline up while still having fun. And again, with the strategy I've been doing, it's almost as fast as the strategies that everybody else has been doing. When it comes to the rooftop strategy, actually, if you min-max it a bit, it's basically at the exact same speed, if not even a bit faster, depending on how long you keep doing the strategy for, than doing the rooftop strategy. Now, I know there's another one everybody's been doing on Terminus, which I've heard you can get like one weapon done in less than an hour, so in that instance, yeah, that's probably the fastest strategy. But again, I just want to play the video game and actually, well, you know, play the video game and just have fun. Again, as I mentioned though, that's just my perspective on it. I'm not trying to say that anybody else's strategy is invalid or that their camo progress is invalid, because it's not. Again, you spent your $70. You play the game how you want to play. You do it however you want to do it. At the end of the day, the Nebula camo grind takes a long time, and I would say in terms of like just a pure time, at least. In terms of challenge, I would say the Dark Matter is still probably harder just because of the launchers and such. But in terms of like sheer time and I guess like commitment to the camo grind, I will say that Nebula does take a bit more of that mental willpower. Like if you're just going all in, day out, like I am right now to complete the Nebula camo grind, which I mean, I won't lie, I haven't been all in on it because as I mentioned in last night's video, I've still been going over and like playing Warzone and playing multiplayer. So I haven't been all in on the Nebula camo grind. I mean, until now, in the last day, I have been all in on the camo grind, but we're talking like 66,000 critical kills. I know for some weapons like the melee weapons and the launchers and such, you know, you don't have to get critical kills, so I mean it's still nearly 60k critical kills that you need to get in total on top of the special challenges and the 30 special eliminations and the 10 elite eliminations when you finally unlock Nebula, which yeah, I'm going through and unlocking Nebula on all the base weapons in the game, and then after I unlock it for all the base weapons, then we'll be going through and unlocking it on the DLCs. I'm not skimping it. I know I could skip the melees or the launchers and just go ahead and, you know, get the seasonal weapons done or whatever, but I don't want to do it that way. I want to get every weapon in the game done throughout the year. Man, I am so excited right now. I've literally been counting down the days until Citadel des Morts, or however you're supposed to pronounce it, comes out. Oh my goodness, dude. They dropped the cinematic for it. That looks absolutely insane. They've been dropping, you know, some teasers here and there, like the COD vlogs and on their social medias, and it looks so good. It's kind of funny for me to say that it looks so good considering the fact that we haven't even seen gameplay of it yet, but I mean, still, you can just tell from the vibes and the atmosphere. Like, man, Treyarch has been knocking it out of the park with Black Ops 6 Zombies. I mean, there's not a single Black Ops game in terms of the zombies where I just, you know, like, I've loved all of them, you know what I mean? There's not a single one that I dislike. I will say I'm kind of butthurt that we only got 4 round-based maps in Cold War, but hey, at least the 4 round-based maps that we got were all, like, really solid. And then even Black Ops 4, I know people had their gripes with that game, but I mean, even since launch, you know, I was one of the people where at launch, as soon as the game dropped, I was playing Blood of the Dead, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is fantastic. I love this. This is an amazing remake. And then I went online, and it's just like everybody's saying the exact opposite. So, you know, I'm one of those guys. You know, I love the Black Ops 4s. Back in the day, I used to love Transit, and I mean, I still love Transit. But I'd be sitting there playing Black Ops 2, my friends would be playing Transit, having a great time, riding the bus, just being all goofy, and then I go online and see that everybody hates the map. I'm like, dog, like, do people hate things just to hate things? Say what you will about me and my perspective on life, I would rather be grossly positive about everything and just live a happy, fulfilling life where I get to always be positive and happy unapologetically, rather than be so pessimistic and negative and like just grumpy all the time. Like, y'all really be living like Squidwards out here. Again, say what you will about me, call it ignorance, call it whatever you want. I don't care. I'm okay living like SpongeBob, you know what I mean? I'm glad, I'm happy to be living this positively. You know, know, I won't lie, as I've gotten older, there is a lot of things that Squidward says where it's like, okay, you know what, homie is spitting facts right now, I completely agree. Like, the older I've gotten, like, genuinely, now that I'm, you know, in my mid-20s, yeah, I genuinely do feel like everything that Squidward says. But at the same time, y'all really just be walking around with that attitude. And furthermore, I mean, I don't even think it's like Squidward. I feel like Squidward is actually more positive at times than some of these people on the internet out here constantly hating on everything. Y'all really just be like Eeyore the donkey. Oh, this game doesn't meet my impossible to meet standards. This one pixel was off from how I wish it would have been. This map isn't up to my standards. My life is so boring that I'm just going to complain about everything and make myself even more miserable than I already am, rather than be thankful for the art I've been given. Palms sweaty. Knees weak. Arms are heavy. There's brain splattered on Liberty Lane's walls already, but I can't hit my shots. Gosh, if I don't start hitting my shots, I'm gonna be deady. Little known fact about me. Well, it's sort of like a little known fact. If you've been watching the channel for a long time, then you'd already know this, but like back in the day, I had like a whole... Oh my, am I really about to say? Okay, so here we go. I thought I was gonna be like the next rap superstar, you know what I mean? I'm talking like, back in high school, right? I had like a clique of like, you know, my rapping buddies where we try to drop these songs on SoundCloud, and you're not gonna find them. All of them have since been deleted off my page. My page is no more, it is bye-bye. But that's actually where the channel name Grotesque comes from, because that was back in the day, again, like back in like, I came up with the name in like middle school, but then like really it wasn't until like high school when I started dropping music and all that. But yeah, you know, I was like, you know what, I'm grotesque, the world hates me, I'm so ugly, so that's why I went with the name Grotesque. And then, you know, I like created this YouTube channel during the time that I was still making music and started kind of creating content when I still kind of had a thing for music. So it was just like sort of this thing where I was like, okay, I already have the channel name, it already kind of stuck, and you know what, it just like, you know, it's cool, you know, like, I vibe with the name, and plus, it's no secret that I played a lot of horror games on the channel before, especially like back in the day, when I started this daily streak, I was playing a lot of like Five Nights at Freddy's and like Resident Evil and stuff like that, so I was like, you know what, like, the name Grotesque kind of fits with like the grotesque themes of the games that I'm playing, right? Like, you know, I guess that kind of aligns. But man, just looking back now and just thinking about everything, like, it's just, you know, I put all that time into making all those different songs and all that, and I have them burned to CDs. I have them all in my closet of like the 4 albums that I made, the one duo album that I made with me and my one buddy, the one demo tape of me and my one buddy that we're also trying to do a duo group, as well as like another CD that just has a bunch of just demos and random unreleased songs and just all this stuff just sitting in there from, again, back in my high school days. I also have a bunch of the stuff on my computer still. I won't lie, I was kind of onto something. Like, even though my rapping skills and my lyrical skills are like kind of questionable at best sometimes, and there was some really like, again, I never really use this word unless I mean it, but some like cringe stuff that I said on the production side of things, I was actually pretty good at it, you know, when it came to like the, you know, whether it be like playing the instruments and recording them and stuff like that, just like straight up making melodies, counter melodies, all that stuff, like guitar, piano, you know, the drum loops and everything like that, because I can only really play guitar IRL, but if you give me like a digital instrument to work on with like the whole, you know, like piano roll on like GarageBand or FL Studio or whatever, like, you know, I can go to town just because I understand like music theory and all that. So I'm genuinely like, you know, I don't like to pat myself on the back too much about things, but I will say like I have a talent for music production, like I'm pretty good at that stuff, and I mean like you know, I'm decent at like lyrics and coming up with flows and stuff like that. And I mean, hey, at least I can actually like rap on beat and understand how to like go along to a beat, unlike a lot of like modern rappers that I've heard, man, let me tell you. But it was always kind of funny with me and my music, because I always just wanted to switch genres, you know, like I was always like, yeah, I had so many different types of songs too, because I made a couple metal songs too, because like my 2 main genres of music that I listen to most tend to be like, you know, metalcore, heavy metal, stuff like that, as well as like rap. But it's like old school rap. Like there's some newer rappers that I've heard from time to time, like Joyner Lucas and Logic and NF, those are like really the only new rappers that I really jive with, that I've heard at least. But when I listen to rap, 99% of the time I'm listening to the old stuff, you know, like older school Eminem. Well, even Eminem's newer stuff is good too, but you know what I mean. Like a lot of times when I'm listening to Eminem, I'm listening to like the Marshall Mathers LP, Slim Shady LP, Eminem Show, even some of the stuff from like Encore. Then you obviously got the albums that he made with D12, which that first D12 album, especially Devil's Night, I've listened to that CD front to back like more times than I can like name. Then you got the other obvious ones, like, you know, Biggie, Biggie, Tupac, Snoop Dogg, you know, NWA, that whole group there, Dr. Dre. That 2001 album is like an all-time classic. You know what? I'm talking about all this rapper stuff. I'm about to embarrass myself so bad right now, but okay, one of the last songs that I made, it was with me and my buddy, who he went by the name of Lil Cheese Curl, and he still makes music. He hasn't actually released anything in a while. I know he was like working on it, but I remember one of the last verses that me and him made, I was still probably like, I don't even know how old I actually would have been at the time. I went on this whole like lyrical miracle, you know, just spitting rhymes for the sake of spitting rhymes. There is one part where I actually said a bit of a slur. Not like, I mean, you'll hear the slur, but we're gonna go ahead and replace the F in that word with an M, so it's gonna sound like maggot. So yeah, you know what I would have said back, but I'm gonna say maggot instead, just because obviously, you know, I was younger at the time. I was just being stupid and saying stuff I shouldn't have. Okay, this is like my third time trying to do this now, but I think I finally remembered how the lyrics actually go. So it goes something, and again, I'm not gonna do the whole verse, I'm just gonna do like at least like the main intro part. So it goes like, yeah, G is back, rapping, spazzing, snapping, thrashing, trashing, packing, mags and gats and dragging, cracking, smacking, smacking maggots back at last. I have it in my bag. I'm the wackest, baddest rapid rapper. Aftermath attracts his ass. That's a fact. I've been hoping and choking on tears, hopelessly rolling through years, smoking the dope and opening beers. What was the next part after that? It was like, wait, hoping and choking on tears, hopelessly rolling through years, smoking the dope and opening beers. Broken and open. Yeah, that's what it was. Broken and open to fear. There were some more after that, but I can't remember anything else at this time. Like I said, half the stuff was pretty cringe, and I can't even remember half of it nowadays to save my life. But yeah, it was, you know, it was a cool time of my life. Looking back, it's some of my core memories from my high school days. So, you know, at that extent, I wouldn't trade any of it for the world. We're closing in on the end game here in terms of like how many critical kills I actually need in this particular match. Because again, by the time I start up another match and then I like get to the point of where I would have enough salvage and all that to do what I need to do, yeah, I should only need to get a couple more zombies here. Like, I'm thinking, like, we'll run them around for, like, maybe 3 more rounds. The one thing that always sucked with me and my music, though, is I cannot sing to save my life. Because I never understood, like, or I just never knew how to, like, find my own singing voice. You know, oh, there it is. We got a gold badge. So now I just need one more gold badge, which would be for the SVD, which I'll definitely get when I go to get that weapon, Mystic Gold. But I was never able to find my singing voice. Like, I got the screaming vocals down. Like, anytime I did metal stuff, like, I know how to, like, scream from the diaphragm. I can do the fry screams. I can do the deep growls. So, you know, I always had that down. When it came to my rapping, my voice in rap always kind of, like, shifted. Sometimes I sounded angry. Sometimes I sounded kind of just, like, you know, whatever, like, kind of mellowed out. But with my singing, I could just never get it down. I could do everything else. Like, literally, like I said before, I could scream my lungs out. But when it came to, like, singing, like, I never knew if I was supposed to go, like, wait, like, I never, like, knew how to do it. I don't know if I'd sound better, you know, singing, like, you know, like, down here in a lower pitch, or, like, in a higher pitch, or, you know, like, how I, like, if I was just supposed to, like, talk but be melodic, like, I don't know. But I'll tell you, man, back in, like, middle school and high school, coming home, and, like, when I was, like, home alone, for example, I would turn on my, like, my stereo system, and I'd turn on Slipknot songs, and I would just scream my lungs out alongside of those, man. And you know, at first when I started doing it, obviously I wasn't doing it correctly, and I, like, you know, kind of lost my voice a couple of times. But, like, as I started to learn how to, like, properly scream from my diaphragm and learned all the different techniques and stuff like that, dude, I was ripping some of the most, like, you know, even some of the most hardcore songs from, like, Iowa, for example, like People Equal, SHIT, or the Heretic Anthem, or Disaster Piece. Like, I was, like, able to, like, scream along to those, hit some of those low, gnarly growls, and then when I listen to, like, Mudvayne, you know, I'd be able to hit those highs that Chad Gray hits. Like, for example, in the song Dig, in their first album, LD50, he doesn't, like, he still goes higher pitch, but it's not as high as even he would do it in, like, the next album, or especially in the Lost and Found album, because in that one, he goes, like, really high points. But, like, in the song Dig, for example, you know, like, during the hook when he's like, dig, bury me underneath everything that I, yeah, like, he goes, like, really high, like, everything that I, yeah, like, I was able to hit, like, you know, notes like that, or, you know, get to those, like, points of fry screams and stuff like that. I used to always sing along to, like, Linkin Park songs, and I just, you know, I was able to do the rapping bits. I was able to try to do some of the singing bits, but there's something about Chester's scream, you know, I could never match between, like, some of the growls that he does and the higher fries. There was, like, a pure emotion in that you can't fake, you can't replicate that. Like, that was real. I will say, there was actually one time in middle school, I think it was like 7th, 8th grade, something like that, where I was singing along to, like, Avenged Sevenfold songs, and there was one point where it was literally, like, this one night, I had finally kind of found, like, a singing, I don't want to say my singing voice, because I was obviously just replicating M Shadows, but I sort of had, like, this semblance of like finally kind of learning how to sing, and I was able to hit like some of the notes that he was hitting, and then also like kind of falling in line with the same tone. Now obviously with him it's kind of hard to replicate because he has more of like a, especially in the like their self-titled album and Nightmare, he has more of that like nasally sound to it, especially like if you go back to their first couple albums with like Waking the Fallen and City of Evil and all that. Like, yeah, you know, he gets like really nasally at some points. But I'm like, specifically I was singing along to like some of the songs again from like, you know, their self-titled album and Nightmare, and I was like finally starting to kind of get it. But then yeah, I just started to lose it again. I was never able to replicate what he did in the, you know, like the Hail to the King album and anything after that, because after that, he went for less of that, like, nasally thing. Like, he still kind of had that, but it was more like a, I guess, like a gritty thing to his voice going on there in songs like Shepherd of Fire, for example. Also, I know I've been going really slow with the critical kills this game. I've been talking my head off. I'm sorry. When I'm talking my head off, you guys know how it goes. My focus, like, kind of gets split between the game and my commentary, and it's just all over the place. I think the key for me is to not learn how to sing, but rather just singing goofy voices. Oh, I'm a gummy bear. Yes, I'm a gummy bear. Like, I can't even sing the Gummy Bear song right. There was this funny noise I used to make back in the day in, like, high school that my mom used to absolutely get a kick out of, and even some of my friends, they were like, dude, how do you do that? Because obviously, I don't have, like, the deepest voice in the world, but I still have a relatively deep voice. I don't even know if I can do it nowadays, but I used to do this thing where I'd say, like, roar, but I'd say it in, like, a really high-pitched voice, and it was just supposed to sound like a funny T-Rex or something, but I go, like, roar! Oh my gosh, I can still kind of do it. I go, like, roar! Again, it's so simple and it sounds so stupid, but for some reason my mom and my friends thought it was freaking hilarious because it would just be like dead quiet and out of nowhere. I just go, roar! Maybe I gotta sing songs in that pitch. Oh, wow, no, not even gonna try that again. That kind of hurt. How many critical kills are we at? 427. That's perfect. That's all I'm done.
But anyways, that's that. I got the critical kills I need for now, and, wow, man, I'm literally about to fall asleep right now. That was not as boring as sitting on the rooftop, but just playing the same round over and over and over. Like, why do you people do this, man? Like, if I'm gonna play a video game, I just want to play the game normally, have fun, and do the challenges to have a semblance of challenge. Just cheesing it. Again, you're $70, do it how you want, but for me personally, no. But anyway, as always, massive shout out thanking all the patrons and channel members, thanking all the low ball this year, and even big shout out thanking the big ball team, asking and dad Benny, and the biggest shout out thanking the G tier run events on the Cheese Girl. Thank you guys so much, guys. The literal legends, I love you. Have an amazing day, stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.